My name is Mark R. LePage, and you are listening to EntreArchitect Podcast, where each week I speak with inspiring, passionate people who share their knowledge and expertise, all to help you build a better business as a small firm entrepreneur architect. I have a question for you today. What if the single greatest competitive advantage your architecture firm will have over the next 10 years isn't your portfolio? It isn't your reputation. It isn't even your design talent. What if it's simply how quickly you learn? Not how much you know, how quickly you learn. For most of my career, experience was everything. The longer you practiced, the more valuable you became. Every project added to your knowledge. Every mistake made you better. Every client taught you another lesson. Architecture rewarded accumulated wisdom. And to be clear, it still does. Experience matters. Judgment matters. Relationships still matter. But something fundamental has changed. Knowledge is no longer scarce. Today, almost anyone can access extraordinary amounts of information in seconds. Need to understand a zoning regulation? Need ideas for a proposal? Need help organizing a project schedule? Need to compare structural systems? Need help writing specifications? The information is almost instantaneous. Information has become a commodity. The advantage has shifted. Today, the competitive advantage is learning faster than anyone else. That's a very different game. Think about what's happened over the last few years. Artificial intelligence has gone from being an interesting curiosity to becoming one of the most powerful productivity tools ever created. Every week, there's another model, another feature, another workflow, another company announcing that everything has changed. It's exhausting. And I understand why many architects simply tune it out. They're busy. They have projects to finish, employees to manage, clients calling, invoices to send. The last thing they need is another technology demanding attention. But here's what concerns me. Ignoring change doesn't slow change. It only slows us. I've always believed that small firms possess one enormous advantage over the large firms. We can move. Large firms have committees, approval processes, layers of management, software standards, corporate politics. Everything takes time with large firms. A sole practitioner can make a decision this afternoon and completely change the way they work tomorrow morning. A 5-person firm can reinvent a workflow in a single week. That is an incredible advantage, if they use it. The problem isn't size. The problem is mindset. Many architects wait until something feels proven, until everything is perfect, until everyone else is doing it, until there's no risk. But by then, the advantage is already gone. The firms that benefit most from new technology aren't the ones that wait for certainty. They're the ones that learn while everyone else is watching. Notice I didn't say they're the ones who know the most. There's an important difference. Learning isn't collecting information. Learning is changing behavior. You haven't learned AI because you watched 10 YouTube videos. You haven't learned marketing because you listened to a podcast. You haven't learned leadership because you read a book. You learn when you change what you do. Implementation is learning. Execution. Everything else is entertainment, consumption. I think that's where many of us get stuck. We consume, we listen, we watch, we read, we save articles, we bookmark videos. We tell ourselves we're staying informed. I do it too. But our businesses don't actually change. Years ago, when I started EntreArchitect, I realized something that surprised me. The architects who succeeded weren't necessarily the smartest people in the room. They weren't always the most talented designers. Often, they were simply the ones willing to try something new. Send one email, record one video, raise one fee, hire one employee, create one system. They acted, then they learned, and then they improved. That's still true today, especially with AI. And I think too many architects believe they need to master the technology before they can use it. And that's backwards. You learn by using it, not by studying it. Think about how we learned architecture. No one became an architect by reading books alone. We sketched. We modeled. We made lots of mistakes. We received crits and critiques, and we redesigned, and learning happened by doing. Why would AI be any different? And here's something that I've started asking myself recently. Every time I encounter a repetitive task, every email, every proposal all day long, every meeting agenda, every article outline, every piece of research, I stop and ask one question. Could AI help me do this better? And not replace me. Don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I want it to help me. And yes, there's a fine line between help and letting it do everything and becoming an AI machine. That's not what I want to do. It's very important to me that we continue this human-to-human connection. Could AI help me do it better? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes it surprises me. That single question has changed the way I work today. Not because AI does everything, and I don't ever want that to happen. Because it forces me to think intentionally about how I spend my time. That's really the opportunity. AI isn't just making us faster, it's making us examine our work. Why do we do this? Why do we do it this way? Could there be a better approach? There are leadership questions there, right? Not technology questions. Let's take a quick break to say thank you to our sponsors for their support of this episode. As architects, we spend a lot of time getting the details right. The finishes, the flow, the way the light reflects in a space. But one of the most important details to figure out is how to protect your building when hundreds of people use it every day. That's exactly the problem InPro has spent decades solving. InPro has a full suite of commercial architectural products, from door and wall protection to expansion joint systems, and everything in between. All made to hold up for the long haul, without sacrificing the design intent you worked so hard to achieve. And for entrepreneur architects like you and me, I can't stress enough how valuable that is. Your reputation doesn't just depend on how your building looks at the ribbon cutting, but how it looks years down the line. InPro has been a trusted partner to architects and designers for decades, and it shows in the quality of the products they make and their ability to simplify projects as a single-source supplier. Check out their full portfolio of products made for real life at inpro.com. That's INPRO.com. Visit inpro.com today and tell them EntreArchitect sent you. This episode of EntreArchitect Podcast is supported by WeCollabify, one of our trusted allied partners. Over the years, I've learned that not all business relationships are created equal. Some companies simply want to sell you their products and services. There's nothing wrong with that. Every firm needs vendors. But the most valuable relationships often go much deeper. A trusted partner understands where you're headed. They understand the challenges you face. They understand and invest in your success because they know that their success is tied to yours. That's how we think about our allied partners. That's also why we're proud to work with WeCollabify. They help architecture and engineering firms expand their capacity by integrating skilled design, BIM, and technical professionals directly into their teams. Not as a separate resource to manage, but as part of the way the firm operates day to day. Their goal isn't simply to fill a position, it's to help firm owners create the capacity they need to serve clients well, support their teams, and make better long-term decisions about growth. If you're evaluating the people and organizations you rely on to support your firm, I encourage you to learn why WeCollabify is one of our trusted allied partners. Visit WeCollabify.com/EntreArchitect to learn more. That's WeCollabify.com/EntreArchitect. This episode of EntreArchitect Podcast is sponsored by ARCAT. If you've been listening to this podcast for any length of time, you've heard me talk about the importance of building systems that save time and reduce friction in your practice. That's exactly why I recommend ARCAT. When I need product information or specifications, CAD details, BIM objects, or sustainability documentation, I don't want to hunt through dozens of manufacturer websites or fill out forms just to download a file. With ARCAT, I can find what I need fast, and everything is free to access. No subscription, no paywall. In fact, you don't even need to register with your email address. Just go to arcat.com, search for the product information you need, and get back to serving your clients. Thousands of architects use ARCAT every day because it simply makes work easier. Visit arcat.com and see why. That's ARCAT, ARCAT.com. Please visit our sponsors today and thank them. Thank them for supporting you, the EntreArchitect community. Here's another thought. The firms that thrive over the next decade won't be the firms that have the biggest AI budgets. They'll be the firms that build learning into their culture. It's a cultural change. Imagine if every Friday your team spent 30 minutes sharing one thing they discovered this week, just one thing, every week. One new prompt, one better workflow, one lesson. Imagine 50 weeks from now, your firm would have accumulated 50 meaningful improvements. Not because someone mandated innovation, because learning became part of the business, part of your culture. That's how small firms outperform large firms, not by working harder, by adapting faster. And I think sometimes we underestimate the power of small, consistent improvements, those atomic improvements. 1% better every week, every month. Over time, those small changes compound into something remarkable. The author Jim Collins talks about momentum. The author James Clear talks about habits. The principle is the same. Success rarely arrives all at once. It accumulates. Learning works exactly the same way. One experiment becomes a better process. One process becomes a better client experience. A better client experience becomes a stronger referral. Stronger referrals become better projects. The change starts with curiosity, not certainty. And that's good news because curiosity is available to all of us. It's free. You don't have to be 25 years old. You don't have to be a technology expert. You don't have to understand every AI model that's released every week. You simply have to remain teachable. I've met architects in their 70s who are experimenting with AI every day. And I've met architects in their 30s who've already decided that AI is all hype. Age isn't the differentiator. Attitude is. So here's the question I want to leave with you today. If your greatest competitive advantage is your ability to learn, what are you learning this week? Not reading, not watching, not planning, learning. What are you actually trying today? Because the architect who learns fastest isn't necessarily the smartest architect or the most experienced architect or the architect with the biggest firm. It's the architect who's willing to stay curious, experiment, reflect, and improve again and again. That's how resilient firms are built. That's how intentional leaders grow. And I believe that's how the next generation of remarkable architecture firms will emerge. So before you start your next project today, choose one task that you've done the same way for years. Just one. Ask yourself, could there be a better way to do this? Then spend 15 minutes experimenting. Maybe AI helps, maybe it doesn't. That's not the point. The point is that you've exercised the one skill that will matter more than any others in the years ahead. The ability to learn. And if you keep doing that, week after week, year after year, you'll never stop building a better firm. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. If you liked this episode of EntreArchitect Podcast, please share a link to this episode with a friend. Either just click the share button or highlight the URL and send the link to this episode with a friend, because that's how EntreArchitect has grown to serve thousands more architects just like you throughout the 10 plus years of EntreArchitect. That's how we've grown, architect to architect. So I would love for you to share this episode and all the episodes with one friend every week. Would love that. And thank you to our sponsors for this episode. We don't have an episode if there's no sponsors, so thank you to our sponsors. Links to those sponsors, which you should go visit and click, and all the resources that we discussed today for this specific episode, they are all available at EntreArchitect.com/podcast. Every episode that we've recorded is there, EntreArchitect.com/podcast. Go click the links to the sponsors and say hello. EntreArchitect is a member of the Gable Media Podcast Network. You should go visit that at gablemedia.com. That is the next evolution of interactive media and resources for the AEC community. You can now earn continuing education credits for listening to select episodes of this podcast, EntreArchitect Podcast. Yes, AIA CEUs for listening to a podcast. It's there, and many other podcasts are there as well, and you can listen to all of them and get credit. Learn more about our program, Gable Members Program, at the gablemedia.com/members website. That's GABL media.com/members. And if you are a small firm architect, join us today at EntreArchitect Network. That is the worldwide organization for small firm entrepreneur architects. If you own your own architecture firm, you are an entrepreneur architect. You are an EntreArchitect. With weekly live group business coaching, we have business coaching there, monthly live business training with AIA CEUs, 2 a month, so 24 AIA credits per year, including 12 of those are HSWs. We have them in the membership. Business resources, all the resources you need to run your business, special session webinars, mastermind groups, and a thriving community of small firm architects just like you. Hundreds of architects are there waiting for you to join. So we provide the support and encouragement you need to succeed as a small firm architect. I know that you haven't been trained as a business person when you launched your firm. That's what we do. Come learn how to run a business at EntreArchitect Network. And today you can go join right now for free for 30 days at this link. EntreArchitect.com/30 days will give you free 30 days for membership. Go check it out at EntreArchitect.com/30 days, and I will see you there. Thank you for listening to this episode of EntreArchitect Podcast. My name is Mark R. LePage, and I want you to remember 3 words: love, learn, share. Have a great day.